This video is brought to you by True Tales of Buried Treasure, the largest collection of old treasure magazines in the West. We're pleased to announce that we are now selling our physical magazines directly on our website. You can browse by magazine title or search for a particular issue using the search bar. To pay us a visit, please click the link in the description. Enjoy. In today's world of near-instant communication, we often consider ourselves an enlightened society. Yet in doing so, we sometimes overlook the profound value of written records from the past. While the geography of North America is well documented, having been explored by every form of travel from camels to dog sleds, many assume there is little left to discover about the continent. Nothing could be further from the truth. Hidden among us lies the remains of a once great city, now reduced to ruins. Its history, along with the stories of the people who built and lived there, has largely been lost. The graves of its inhabitants are mostly unmarked and unidentifiable. For nearly a century, scholars and archaeologists have studied this mysterious metropolis in search of answers. They have uncovered mummies and skeletons, examined bones, and drawn the conclusion that the people were basket makers from three distinct periods, an assumption supported by the abundance of baskets unearthed. Alongside these finds, researchers have cataloged hundreds of stone tools, arrowheads, and spear points, artifacts often dated back thousands of years. Yet paradoxically, with each new excavation, while the artifacts seem to grow older, the true story of this place slips further into obscurity within the broader history of North America. This city remains abandoned, with no known written record of its existence. Who were its builders? What became of them? After painstaking analysis, researchers generally agree on one explanation: a devastating drought. The land, they believe, became so barren that agriculture was no longer possible, forcing the inhabitants to leave. But where they went remains a mystery. According to historians and archaeologists, so much time has passed that the people have vanished beyond the reach of traceable history. This city carries with it a strange and fascinating past. It was first known as Tenochtitlan, but later the Spaniards gave it two other names. The land was rich in gold and silver, and soon a Spanish settlement arose in its fertile heart. Hernando Cortés was the first conquistador to behold Tenochtitlan. Driven by his ambition to secure wealth for both the Spanish crown and himself, Cortés claimed the city and its surrounding lands before continuing his journey. Cortés and his men pressed westward until they reached the Pacific Ocean, then turned north. Along the coast, they discovered many promising harbors, and farther inland, they struck even more gold. It was this northern territory that first bore the name Mexico. Here, too, Cortés laid vast claims for himself and for Spain. One of his goals was to discover the fabled sea passage to the distant lands of the Far East. But the rough northern terrain, broken by long winding saltwater inlets, forced him to abandon the search. Instead, Cortés loaded his horses and mules with treasure and returned south by sea. It seems likely that the rich gold deposits of the north inspired the renaming of Tenochtitlan to Mexico. To conceal the true location of these northern riches from rival powers, especially the French and English who might invade from the east, the Spanish altered maps, falsified latitudes, and deliberately shifted Mexico's position. Before long, this deception expanded. Official Spanish documents placed all of New Spain much farther south than reality. In time, Mexico was relocated yet again, finally settling on the false position of today's Mexico City. But let us return to the second Mexico, the city once called Tenochtitlan. By the late 1500s, this site became the capital of New Spain. Known as Mexico City, it was described in official records as lying at about 20 degrees north latitude, a fabricated location meant to mislead. So where is the true site of the ancient Tenochtitlan, the earlier Mexico City? In truth, it is not hidden at all. Each year, thousands of visitors walk its grounds, marvel at its old monasteries, and wander among the remnants of its government buildings. Today, it is preserved as a national park. Yet park guides repeat the story told for centuries, that these structures were built by an unknown race before the arrival of Europeans. Like many before them, they have unknowingly passed along a history clouded by misdirection and myth. It was Edward Bulwer Lytton who wrote, "Beneath the rule of men entirely great, the pen is mightier than the sword." The truth of that statement is undeniable, for it was the pen that concealed the true city of Mexico for nearly 4 centuries. Today, the site of that magnificent hidden city is known as Mesa, Verde, Colorado. This remarkable place once held treasures beyond imagination. Here, the coinage of New Spain was struck. Here, countless bars of gold and silver were cast, hauled across the land, and shipped to enrich the crown of Spain. And here, too, countless residents hid portions of their wealth from soldiers, raiders, and invading armies, burying their fortunes to protect them, often never to return. How much treasure lay concealed when Miguel Hidalgo ignited his revolution in 1810? And in the turbulent years that followed, when power passed from one greedy faction to another, how much more was buried? Many who hid their riches likely perished in battle, leaving their hoards forever lost. When the U.S. Army under General Winfield Scott marched into the city in August 1847, once again the people concealed their valuables. That's right, according to this account, it was here in Colorado that the Battle of Mexico City took place during the Mexican-American War. Historians have long struggled to make sense of the events of that campaign. Perhaps now it is clearer why. Mexico City was vast, and Mesa Verde formed its heart. Since the land became part of the United States in 1847, treasures have been discovered throughout the countryside. No doubt, much more remains hidden. Today, large portions of the ruins are preserved as a U.S. national monument, where metal detectors are forbidden. Yet beyond the protected boundaries, on private property, outside national park limits, or on certain lands not under restriction, there is still ample ground for treasure hunting. For those less inclined to rugged exploration, treasures of another kind await. In Cortez, Colorado, and the nearby towns, antique shops still carry relics of New Spain, and many local native families trace their ancestry to those who stood beside Miguel Hidalgo, the martyred revolutionary who gave his life to free his people. Perhaps the treasure you take home will not be buried gold, but instead a piece of fine silverwork, basketry, pottery, or weaving crafted by their descendants. Mexico City, the true one, the ancient one, the hidden one, a city of 10,000 treasures. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to read the original article or purchase the magazine from which it was taken, please check out our website, truetalesofburiedtreasure.com.